Bellows for the Bullock, a Haryanvi folktale, English text. In the story, we see the characters. Here, first is the peasant, also called as Chaudhry, and his wife, she is known as Chaudhran. Old Thug and his four sons. And another character is Cowherd. Before reading the story, let's know something about the story. It's a folk tale of Haryana. A peasant in this tale is cheated by an old thug and his sons because he believes others as simple and innocent like himself. He teaches the old thugs and his sons by becoming a woman and a hakim and with the help of a cowherd. Now let's read the story. Once there was a very poor peasant, though he had a small piece of land. He was hardworking and wise. After a lot of labor and effort, he saved up 50 rupees. He thought, I'll purchase an ox with this money and along with another poor peasant, make a pair of oxen, one bullock mine and one his. Both of us will then be able to do farming properly. Now he looked forward to the annual cattle fair that was to be held after a few days in a village some 6 koses away. The peasant went to the fair to buy a bullock. He tried a lot, but how could one get a bullock of a good breed for 50 rupees? At last he was able to find an old bullock. The bullock was no doubt old, but because of its good breed had no blemish. The peasant thought he will do fine, in any case better than no bullock at all. Having bought the bullock, the peasant went back to the village. On the way, late in the evening, he came across a small dhani. To spend the night, he approached the premises of a well-to-do farmer. But it turned out to be the house of a thug. The thug had 4 well-built sons, as full of guile as they were wily. True to their trade, all of them instantly sensed that the peasant was a simpleton and could be conned easily. They said to the peasant, "Why don't you sell the bullock?" The peasant thought that there was nothing wrong if he could make a profit of 20 or 30 odd rupees. Reflecting for a few moments on what should be a good bargain, he said, 125 rupees. The sons said that it was too inflated a price. The eldest son said, Chaudhry, we can't come to an agreement on this price. The difference in price is huge. Then what should we do? The peasant asked. Another one of the sons said, let's make some wise old man as our punch. Let the price be what he says. What are we waiting for, then? Sitting right here is our Tau, a wise old man, said the simple peasant, looking at the old thug, who pretended to be maintaining his distance and aloofness from the bargaining. The peasant did not suspect that his simplicity and straightforwardness was getting him into a trap. The thug and his sons were happy to get their way so easily. They got what they wanted. The Chaudhry agreed to make their father the arbiter. The old thug had to be addressed twice before his attention could be drawn to the affair. In order to make the peasant commit fully to their game plan, he said, No folks, I don't want to get into any quibble. I am an old man. I bide my time in prayers, that's all. The peasant was overwhelmed. He reverently said, Tau, you are our elder. You are wise and experienced. We all look up to people like you to help us get out of difficult and tricky situations of life. Whatever price you may suggest, I'll accept. And we too shall accept said all the four sons in unison. Maintaining a practiced detachment, the old thug began. Look, brethren, now both the parties are showing me deference. But it is Kalyug. Here punches are treated most wretchedly. I am not inclined to accept this panchpana. No, Tauzi, whatever you decide, we shall all accept happily. The peasant intervened. All right, then listen, all of you. Whatever verdict I announce will be binding on all. Of course, they all said in a chorus. To test the peasant further, the old thug asked probingly, Chaudhry, what will you do if, say, I assess your bullock worth 2 paisa? I will abide by that too, the peasant said unflinchingly. He had complete faith in the judiciousness of the wise old man. Turning to his sons, the oldest said, Choreo, I'll assess this Chaudhry's bullock worth 1,000 rupees. Will you agree? Haan, they avowed. Then it's all right. Now I can adjudicate. Saying this, the old man got up from the cot and started looking at the bullock from all sides and angles. As if examining it very carefully, counted the teeth, twisted the tail, and moved his hands to and fro on its back and the belly. The peasant thought that Tauji's assessment would certainly be somewhat higher than the price at which he had bought the animal. After a thorough examination of the bullock, the old thug came back to his cot. The peasant was looking at him anxiously. The old thug blurted out, to the peasant's shock, Dear Chaudhry, your dhanda is worth 2.5 rupees. The peasant was left gaping. It dawned on him that he had been cheated. But what could be done now? He was bound by his own word. Crestfallen, he accepted 2.5 rupees and right then took to the road to his village. When he reached home, Chaudhran asked, Haven't you bought a bullock? I did buy one, but got cheated on the way. The thugs swept clean the fruit of my sweat and labour. Chaudhry said, Woe begone. The Chaudhran was shocked. You are quite a wise person. How could you be cheated? The Chaudhry told her everything. The crude and crass cheating was too much to digest. In the night, still smarting and in deep turmoil, he kept tossing around in the cot, not a wink for long. He ardently wanted to teach a lesson to those thugs. Suddenly he hit upon a plan, and at once he fell into a blissful slumber. The next day, the peasant rolled some of the best clothes of his wife into a bundle and got ready to make it to the dhani of the thugs. Whither to? Asked the Chaudhran. To teach a lesson to the Sardar of thugs. What time will you be back? Soon. There was a small forest near the thug's dhani. In the privacy of the forest, the peasant got into his wife's clothes and decked himself up. The effects were so startling that anybody would take him to be an angel. In this outfit, he reached the courtyard of the thugs. Finding a woman in their home, the old man and his sons became very happy. None of the sons was married, who would consign their daughter to the home of thugs. The woman, her face wrapped up in a veil, was weeping. She laid bare her misery. I have been turned out from my home by my husband, and now I have no place to go in this wild world. The eldest son said, Why are you worried? Consider this to be your own home. But how can I live here? Marry me, he said. And the rest three spoke together. Why should she marry you? Are we ugly? There ensued a quarrel among the brothers. None asked the father to mediate. They were afraid of letting the matter go to the seasoned schemer, for he would, no doubt, immediately stake his claim. When the quarrel grew heated, the woman said, "Why are you quarreling? Let me set you a test. Let the best win my hand." "All right," all of them said aloud. "Listen then. Whosoever is the first to bring me a Banarsi sari, Sahanpuri mangoes, and sweets from the city, I shall belong to him." There was no time to lose. The foursome sallied forth towards the city. Meanwhile, the old man had his eyes riveted on the woman. When the peasant felt that the brood have gone quite far, he quickly bolted the door from inside, took off his guise, and got hold of the old thug. The latter recognized the peasant and realized that now he was done for. Twisting the thug's hand, the peasant ordered him, "Go to the barn, now." After tethering the old man to a stake in the barn, the peasant started beating him with a herder's stick he found in a corner. He would give the old thug a blow, pause, and then asked, "Why, oldie? Is my dhanda worth 2.5?" Weeping and wailing, twitching and cringing, the old thug whimpered, "Forgive me, spare me." The peasant asked, "Tell me, where have you hidden your treasure?" Could the thug dare not tell all? He disclosed the whereabouts of the money hidden in the house. The peasant found the treasure and shoved the money into his bundle and was at once striding to his village, got full 500. No doubt he got the money, but his thirst for revenge was not yet quenched. His rage did not subside. When the sons reached home, they found their father tethered. Wailing and groaning, the old man narrated all that had taken place. They were left fuming. What could they do? The next day, a Hakim came to the dhani. It was the peasant again, well disguised. The old thug came to know about the Hakim and implored, "Not a bone of my body has escaped the clubbing of that bull of a man. If nothing else, at least get that Hakim to give me balms and bandages." They called on the Hakim. The Hakim touched the old man precisely where his body hurt the most. He said, "I am a true pupil of a great Guru." "I know. Tau, where have you been hurt?" Whoever he was, he must have been some sort of a butcher. Didn't care even for the aging body. "You have been given a sound beating, but it does not matter. I'll take care of everything." Hakim felt his pulse. The old man whined with pain when the Hakim touched his injured body. After feigning to think for a while, the peasant said, "4 kinds of herbs are required. The first one is found in the eastern part of the forest, the second in the west, the third in the south, and the fourth will be found in the northern side." The boy said, "We'll bring them in a jiffy. We'll each go in one direction." All the 4 boys rushed out, and the Hakim and the old thug were left alone. Shedding his guise, the healer bolted the door. The old fellow shrieked. The demon of death was looming over him. The peasant said with a broad smile, "Move, get to the barn." The peasant dragged the thug to the barn and, after tying him up with a rope, got to his business, pounding the thug with a well-oiled lathi. The peasant repeated his question. "So, my dhanda is for 2.5?" The question rhymed with each blow. The old thug started squealing and howling. He now promised the peasant 200 rupees, which he had hidden in the house, thus saving himself from further thrashing. Taking the money with him, the peasant took to his heels. Back with the herbs, the sons found their father again tethered. He again narrated his woes. Left vivid again, they shouted threats of the terrible things they would do to the peasant if they found him. On the other hand, the peasant pined to teach the thugs such a lesson that they would never dream of cheating a simple man. He again went to the forest near the dhani and saw a sturdy and robust cattle herder grazing his cattle. The peasant said to him, "Brother, do me a favor. Go to that old thug's door. Say to him, 'So oldie, my dhanda is for 2.5, and run away. And this 5 rupee note is yours." The peasant warned him that the sons of the old thug would be after him and would beat him up severely if they caught him. A prank and 5 rupees, what else could he wish for? As for his being caught by the thug's sons or anyone, at best it could only be a wild thought, for he was a teenager with a bull's strength and a calf's quickness. In no time, he was at the threshold of the thug's house and found the old thug sitting and sulking in the inner courtyard facing the door. Staring at him, the herder shouted, "So oldie, my dhanda is for 2.5. The thug shouted, "He has come again. Catch him, catch!" All the four sons chased him. The cattle herder flew towards the forest. Could he be caught? Lo and behold, the peasant was in the thug's house. Closing the door, he said, "So oldie, is my dhanda for 2.5? The thug thought his life would end now. The peasant appeared to him as Yamraj incarnate. Crying and clasping the peasant's feet, he beseeched, "Forgive me, my sons, and I shall never indulge in thuggy ever." "Draw lines on the earth with your nose," the peasant ordered. The old man obeyed. This time the peasant neither beat him nor asked for money and just went away. Since that day, the old thug and his sons gave up thuggy altogether, and both the community well and the ghats of the pond in the peasant's village got the much required facelift. Thank you.